our pal Scott Abraham from ABC7. Hey, Scott.
Good morning, boys. Happy Friday.
Scotty.
What's good, man?
Are you upset that you're not in Madrid?
Yeah, of course I have FOMO, but those decisions are made above me, and we move on.
Yeah, okay.
He's a soldier.
Yeah. Believe me, you don't want all that travel.
You would have hated that flight, especially the one coming back. That would have sucked.
Yes.
It would obviously it's a different mentality if they're 7-3 versus 3-7. But trip to Madrid and see the sights and sounds. Yeah, I got some FOMO, but it's all good. We got a job. We loving life. It's good.
All right. What is your sense? We had Nikki on earlier. She, of course, is one of them that's out there. The big news this week is the change at D coordinator. I don't think anybody expects any massive changes, right? There's only so much a human can do. It's not like Joe Witt doesn't know what he's doing. But what, if anything, do you think Dan Quinn could add to this defense that we might see?
Well, I think they got to figure out a way to get pressure on the quarterback, and the D-line's been kind of stagnant, in my opinion. So I'd love to see some, stunts or moving guys around, try to get the offensive line of the Dolphins, confused a little bit. So maybe some games on the defensive line to try to figure out a way to get some pressure, because the last several games, guys, as you know, they've just really struggled of getting consistent pressure on the quarterback, and then you lose, on the back end, in the secondary is just a mess right now with the injuries and Will Harris, working his way back, and no Marshawn Lattimore, and now Trey Amos. I think they're going to try to figure out a way to create pressure without necessarily, having to blitz all the time. So I would see, hopefully some stunts and try to get these guys after Tua.
How are the guys feeling when you're there over these last couple of weeks? Because we still hear Quinn talk about the team being together and the brotherhood and all that things. Do you sense that they're still together?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think the losing streak is weighing on them. I don't think anybody in that locker room, to a man, thought they'd be in this position right now. 5-game losing streak, 3-7 on the season, struggle bus right now. But they got the veterans of the Zach Ertz and the Bobby Wagners that, the glue guys that try to keep this team together. And, they're all professionals. Yeah, they're getting paid at the end of the day, but there's a lot of pride in that locker room. They don't want to be one of the worst teams in the NFC right now, which unfortunately they are. Their record is what it says they are. So, but I get the sense there's no Dan Quinn's losing the locker room, or there's malcontent going on inside the locker room, or pointing fingers. You look for that, right? You look for, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was Cincinnati Bengals, Chase Brown, their running back, called out the defense publicly during a post-game scrum, saying, "Get off the field, just get one stop, get off the field." You don't see that, you don't hear that from the guys. So, this group is still together, and I'm sure this trip overseas to Madrid, where they're spending all this time together, dinners together. They don't go back to their individual homes. They're on the road together for a whole week. So I don't see this team any disconnect.
Scott, Deebo has 96 yards receiving in his last 4 games. I mean, that is a shockingly low number. I mean, he's had to pick up the slack with Terry's sideline. Do you see him having a big impact this weekend, and do you attribute it more to the offense just not being effective, or his injury, a combination of the two? What is it?
I think the fact that they don't have the outside threats, those outside guys, the Noah Browns, the Terry McLaurin, I think these defenses are being smart and figuring out a ways to, one, limit Deebo's touches, and if he does get those touches, he doesn't have any open field. There's no those yak yards. There's no yards after the catch for Deebo. And the fact that they can't really get a running game going, they're becoming a one-dimensional team. So defenses are, okay, let's stack the box, let's play man. You're pushing up and trying to stop the run. And then obviously Deebo, he's not that really down the field, deep threat outside guy. He's more of a, catch the ball, screen, short passing, and let him do some damage with his legs when he catches the football. And there's no help for him because they can't get anything else going, and the defense is are being smart and they're manning up and they're making Mariota and those outside guys try to beat them. And obviously, you know what the outcome is. It's not happening.
Do you think he's being underutilized as a rusher? Because that was part of the appeal of trading for Deebo was, okay, you know, he can be a Swiss Army knife in Cliff's offense. He only has 10 carries through this point of the season for 49 yards. I thought it would be much higher.
That is a great point, Cakes. And I was just, when you said that, I was just thinking back. When was the last time he had an actual carry? I can't remember when the last time he had like a jet sweep or running the ball per se. So
here he is in the last, dating back to the Chargers game. No carries in that game. 1 for -1 yards in the Bears game. 1 for 1 yard in the Chiefs game. 1 for 3 yards in the Seahawks game. 0 carries in the Detroit game.
So he's getting one every other game.
I didn't think he had a jet sweep or anything in the last game, the Lions. But that's a great point, because that's something when Deebo came to the Commanders, he always had that moniker of, you know, Deebo's a running back or Deebo, and he's had to kind of shed that per se a little bit. But that's his game, right? That's what he brings to the offense of a guy that can do everything in terms of catching the football, and also if you need a jet sweep or a jet action, he's your guy. And it's interesting how that's kind of fallen by the wayside. I don't know if the fact that because Jaden's not in there, if that changes kind of the dimension of the threat of Jaden running versus getting the ball to Deebo in a run action. I don't know what Cliff's thinking, but that's something that certainly we should ask coming out of the bye, because you would think you would want your playmaker to get his hand on the football as much as possible. So that's great that you brought that up, because I wasn't thinking about that at all. And it's something that coming into the season, you thought Deebo would be maybe 2-3 carries a game, and that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting to see what Kingsbury would say about that, or DQ. Hey, we were kind of throwing this around a segment ago. Do you think deep down, because everyone has an ego, that Joe Witt, if you gave him a lie detector test, is kind of hoping that the Dolphins score some points?
They give up like 50 this week.
So it's not on him, and it's the personnel and not the coaching staff or the scheme?
I mean, guys, let's be honest. If we were in Joe's shoes, I think we'd all be like, yeah. I mean, you kind of, in a sense, you kind of hope that. I
mean, I know he doesn't want to lose the game, but he doesn't want Quinn to hold him to 14.
Right. You don't want to see, you don't want to see Dan Quinn and the Commanders defense, slow him down to 10, 13 points this game.
Right.
Because that obviously looks poorly on your coaching abilities. And why did this happen with DQ in charge of the defense versus myself? So I think there's a part of him be like, of course, you don't want to see for your future coaching or the reasoning behind why this defense is so bad to see them limit Miami to 10 to 13 points. But I will be surprised if that's the case, if Miami, doesn't put up north of 20, 21 points again. But there's a point here where coaches coach, players play, and the players are what they are. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum this year. There's nobody coming off the street that's going to save this defense. And they were constructed by Adam Peters, and they were brought on the field to get coached up. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to point the fingers at the players of them not performing and not living up to the moment. Of course, we've talked about injuries. Again, nobody wants to hear injuries as an excuse. I get it from the fan base. But to a point, they've lost so much, guys. They're just decimated at the edge position, at secondary. It weighs on a team, and they just don't have the depth. Do you point the finger at the front office, Adam Peters and his staff? Certainly. Obviously, they whiffed on some decisions. Marshawn Lattimore did not work out well. He gave up a draft pick. You could not get draft picks back in trades this year. So they're in a little hole, and they got to figure out how to, once this season's over, you're not going to be able to fill all these positions through the draft. So you're going to have to figure out a way to kind of get some depth and reload here.
Scott, part of your job is to do these feel-good stories and kind of background stories, and in training camp and then early part of the season, Bill was part of that, Croskey-Merritt, and they just haven't been able to run the football. Do you have any hopes on this running game? I know that we've talked about defenses loading up in the box. Can they get this running game going again?
Yeah, that's tough because, if there is a game to get right, I mean, Miami's one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL.
Ooh, there you go.
That's a little positivity there. But again, I go back to the fact I still think they're going to give Chris Rodriguez a look. I know he got banged up a little bit with the shoulder in the second half against the Lions game, but I think he's got a little pop, a little punch, a little more physicality in between the tackles. So I think Rodriguez will get this. Remember, he started. He was RB1 in that Lions game. So I think they're going to give him a look, and hopefully he stays healthy and see what he can do throughout the game. Of course, you mentioned Bill Croskey-Merritt, great story, but he's hit that rookie wall since the Chargers game. Again, that's a combination of defenses stacking the box and maybe a little bit of a rookie wall of kind of going through the grind of what a first NFL season is like. So maybe they use Mariota a little bit more. Maybe they get him running the football and get him using the legs to keep the defense honest.
I think they need to.
They got to somehow, they got to figure it out, guys. They got to get this run game going because you can't rely on those outside guys, unfortunately.
I know it's a trivial detail, and I know these guys are also elite athletes, all of them. The worst ones on the roster. And I think that Noah I has ability, right? I've liked what he's done at times.
I know where you're going.
Watching him return those kicks, though, is the slowest thing I've ever seen. Like he's the opposite of Brian Mitchell, right? Doesn't attack it. He just kind of got these long strides. He did have one big return to his credit. But is that the best we could do at this point? We don't have anything better than Noah I.
To play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
So why would you want to risk a Deebo back there or Bill Croskey-Merritt, guys that are so-called playmakers, and you get another injury? I mean, enough is enough. So I think
you don't have to be Deebo, but
they look at maybe Noah I's a little bit more. I don't want to say this, but expendable in a way where if he does get injured, it's obviously offensively it doesn't make a difference because
he's a sacrificial lamb, is what he is.
Right, that's where I'm going. Exactly in a sense. Like why risk a Deebo when you kind of need him on offense and you're depleted at the wide receiver position. So I get it. I just who else are you going to put out there other than a Deebo, a Bill Croskey-Merritt?
Am I the only one?
McNichols. Well, hell, McNichols had that huge fumble in the NFC Championship game.
But am I the only one that noticed he looked like he was in slow motion? He
had long strides. I mean, he's not the fastest guy.
Yeah, he didn't have a jetpack behind him. Certainly, yeah.
But if he's going to hold on to the ball, then maybe
I'm sure he's faster than all of us combined. But
I know. Well, we're not up for the job. I know.
And we're not getting paid exactly. Yeah.
All right. So what's your prediction?
I think it's going to be close. But Miami coming off that win against the Bills, I think they got some confidence. They got some momentum. Give me Miami to win 27-24.
All right, that's $5 from Cakes. And that happens.
That's an over too, a slight over, I believe.
I do. Yes, I love the over in this game.
Okay,
I think the over is 47.5, 48.
Yeah,
I like the over.
All right, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it, buddy.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, fellas.
All right, man.
I don't think I'm as optimistic.
That's a close.
I might take
loss.
it. That's moral victory territory.
Moral victory Monday.
You have
no
a
more moral
victory
victories.
against a 3-17.
Yeah, it's hard to unearth that
There's
nugget.
no more moral victories.
I can still find them. If we played a close one and we were competitive,
a close loss to the Dolphins.
If we were competitive for 4 quarters and we just missed a field goal at the end or something.
Now, if you did that against the Lions or the Chiefs, team of note, the Patriots,
I don't think there's moral victories
more
once
right
expectations are raised.
What?
once the expectations are raised, there's no moral victories.
What expectations? They're gone now.
Yeah, they are gone.
So now,
but before the
moral victory,
season, the expectations were to compete for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's light years away.
That ship has sailed.
That was a different universe.
Now you have to reshift your.
I know, but I still
back
think
in moral victory territory
for the year.
Let's just
I
play
don't think
a
you
good
get
one.
moral victories.
But
I
know you're not like this because you want to win games. But there are a certain subset of fans that want them to go 3-14.
Oh, I'm definitely not like that.
Because they said, look, you're 3-7. All right, you suck. You're not going to the playoffs. Just lose the rest and get the best draft picks in each round.
They would be thrilled if we played a great one and lost on a field goal at the end.
Yes, they love Tank Abbott.
Yeah.
I'm not in that camp, but I think they're heading there anyway. Like they're going to have a top 7 or 8 pick no matter what.
All right, but if you get number 4 as opposed to 8,
right?
I mean, some fans would like that.
All right, you heard Scott Abraham's prediction. He's got it as a close game, a high-scoring game.
They were so bad against
27-24. What do you think? 1-800-636-1067. We're the Junkies on a Football Friday.